7 or 8, they're eligible. Peter Brock is examining the derivative charge. I'm sure the tail's gone away.
All entries in the Energy Victoria Model Solar Car Challenge are designed by secondary students from schools throughout the state of Victoria. They all have to meet regulations laid down by the organising committee to ensure models comply with size regulations and that no illegal energy storage systems, such as batteries, have been built in. The chief scrutineer, Mr. Ted Mellor, one of the instigators of this competition, rigorously checks all aspects of the cars with the student team representatives.
You've got someone to catch it at the other end? Yeah. Okay, you ready? Let's go.
After scrutineering, each car is required to complete a time trial under lights. The time each car takes to traverse the 15-metre track is recorded and used for seeding purposes. After working on their designs for months, the students take a huge pride in their creations.
Come on! Good boy! Good boy!
Someone down the other end for you?
Yeah.
Okay, you ready? Everything switched on?
Yeah.
Okay.
After all cars have passed scrutineering and been seeded, the races begin. The 100-metre-long S-shaped track commences with a downhill slope to help these minimally powered cars to get a start. Once the cover is lifted, the sun hits the solar cells and the models move off. The first round saw Brentwood High's Chipper achieve a surprise result against last year's second-place getter, Swan Hill Tech. The competition has achieved widespread support, with many country schools being involved. One of the closest first-round heats was between Wangaratta High and Kerrang.
Track 1 is the one on the inside at the moment. The one that's winning is on track 1. And that is Wangaratta. Wangaratta High is currently winning on track 1.
But neither car looked like it could go on to win the event. This S-shaped track not only requires the cars to be efficient, they also need to negotiate the corners. The 14 winning schools through to the second round are Melbourne Grammar, Corowa Anglican, Penley Essendon, Jamison Park, Kilvington, Kerrang Tech, Brentwood, PLC, Tallangatta, Caulfield Grammar, Lionel Hall, McKinnon, Swan Hill and Wesley College. Now the competition is getting closer, but in this second heat, Penley Essendon Grammar are too good.
With the old tape holding the body on. Background notice cost of $4.
In between heats, there is time for a few last-minute adjustments. In a battle of balsa wood versus polystyrene foam, Brentwood's Volkswagen lined up against the PLC Phoenix in one of the most exciting races of the day.
Really well. I think it's just kicked it back up that curve. We're close to that with the next corner. Phoenix vehicle made of polystyrene.
And the all-girls team makes the quarterfinals to the great delight of its designers. Having seen their first car, Predator, lose in round one, Swan Hill's second model, Terminator, started favourites against newcomer Wesley College.
You can see the vehicles sort of slow down as they negotiate turns and then pick up speed.
But although competing for the first time, the Wesley model was the better car on the day.
It picked up some more drag.
At the end of the second round, racing car identity Peter Brock judged the 16 models which had advanced past the first round to select the best engineered vehicle. He spent time discussing design features with each team before reaching his decision. Teams included Swan Hill, McKinnon High School, who entered 2 cars,
From the track. I think he's hoping that the sun will come.
and Brentwood Secondary College.
Now I think we're getting fairly close to being able to establish the prize for the best engineered model solar car. Thank you, Peter.
There is indeed a number of innovative designs here and a lot of quite elegant solutions to problems. And I must also warn any of you who may be wondering, is their car going to be the lucky one that comes up and win this great prize? It's Cadsman software kit. But one of the criteria that I always look at with any brilliant design or potentially brilliant design, and that is simplicity. Something should always be extremely simple. So the track itself is difficult. So if you came here and you've got a machine, for instance, like the Wesley College machine here with a steerable front end to overcome that problem, you're going to bring in other problems such as bouncing and the front end buckling a little. And I think any of you who looked at that machine and wondered why it went a little bit slower, was you could see the front end flexing. And once any vehicle is flexing and bumping and what have you, that takes energy, doesn't it? That takes that precious energy that you've got to try and turn into forward momentum. Lionel Hall, a very attractive machine, and you might notice when you look at that it has some little stability fins out the bottom corner. I think it's extremely good.
Thank you, Peter.
Lionel Hall Community School was the proud winner of the Cadsman drafting package.
Have a demonstration run between the Perth vehicle from Eastern Hills and the winner of last year's event from Lionel Hall.
As first prize in the inaugural West Australian Model Solar Vehicle race, Eastern Hills was given the opportunity to compete against the 1991 winner in Victoria, which had been built by Lionel Hall. Although not required to meet exactly the same regulations as this year's vehicles, Eastern Hills showed the way and has sent out an ominous challenge to entries from all states. In the first of the quarterfinals, the potential speedster from Jamison Park lost a tyre on the first bend, and so was easily beaten by a very excited team from Corowa Anglican Girls Grammar. Lionel Hall's The Beast proved to be too good for Kilvington girls. And the PLC car, the Phoenix, suffered the same fate from Lionel Hall's newest car, the Photon 2, and the Wesley vehicle won its quarterfinal. There are 4 competitors in the semi-finals. In the first, Corowa's Strictly Solar is victorious over Lionel Hall's The Beast.
Corowa are winning this event against the Lionel Hall The Beast. Corowa, congratulations. Remember that they've got to run these vehicles 3 times. This is a best of 3 in order to positively establish the placings so that we can determine the whole 4 places out of these 4 finalists.
But Lionel Hall interrupted Wesley College's excellent first-up run when their model car Photon 2 was far too good for the Wesley solar vehicle. Only 2 models are left in the competition, and the winner will be decided in a best out of 3 races. In the first, Lionel Hall's Photon 2 was too good for the first-year entrant from the all-girls Corowa Anglican Grammar. Lionel Hall went on to win the second race, making them the 1992 outright winners and the unbeaten champions of the Victorian model solar car race since its inception in 1990. Second place went to the students from Corowa Grammar.
How long ago did the team begin the operation?
We basically started about halfway through 1992, maybe a bit before that, when we first got together as a group and decided that we were going to go ahead with the competition. And then we didn't get a lot done to begin with. We didn't know exactly where to begin. But then after that we just kept working and we met on the weekends. And
how did you decide where to begin?
We did a bit of brainstorming at the start, suggesting ideas and sort of trialling and all of us just putting in whatever we thought.
Was there a moment when you felt particularly discouraged?
Yes.
What happened?
A couple of months before the actual event, there was a newspaper article and another school had just finished their car and had started to test it. At that stage, we hadn't got much of a car made.
How important is the frontal area of the car?
It's important to have something that's reasonably aerodynamic to cut wind resistance. We had a shape that was kind of like a diamond and went up to the solar panel in order so that the air just went straight over, up to the front and then down the side panel again.
And that was the shape you stuck with, or did you modify it after your early experiment?
We'd looked at different designs and also with the tilting of the solar panel, and that was the one we ended up with eventually.
Now, I understand your team won 2 awards. What were they?
Best all-girls team and second place.
Let's see the plaques.
The Chief Executive Officer of Solar Energy Victoria, Dr. Peter Hurton, officially concluded the competition.
Is certainly a winner, and hopefully we'll gain a lot of knowledge in the future about how we can use solar energy for the betterment of all mankind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter.
The concept for school-built model solar vehicle races was born out of the World Solar Challenge, a race of 3,000 kilometres from Darwin to Adelaide. In Adelaide, the first international model solar vehicle race is scheduled for November the 14th, 1993. Coinciding with the end of this year's World Solar Challenge, the top 4 cars from each state and from New Zealand will compete for the title of World Champion Model Solar Car.